Are we filming? Yes, we are. So look at that. That is a huge number of filofaxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm actually carrying them today, all 5 of them, which is ridiculous, I know, but that's the way it is. I just want to share with you some updates too, because I know some of you are interested in this sort of thing. A bit nerdy. But I know some of you, perhaps quite a few of you, are interested in what's going on from a day-to-day basis. So I'm just giving you a little bit of an update. Why am I carrying so many? Because quite often, in a bag, I'm carrying them in a backpack or an army bag, shoulder bag. But why am I carrying so many? Well, let me run through this, because it is essentially because I'm moving house. There's a lot to do. I'm moving around, and I've decided to carry lots of stuff so that I have everything to hand. And it is like I'm living in the analog world at the moment, predominantly. So first of all, EDC, which I normally carry. This is my mini executive. I've got about half a dozen different models of mini filofax. And 1 or 2 from other manufacturers as well. This ideally is essentially what in the past I have carried on its own, but it's just for the specific purpose of making sure I have everything in hand, that I'm carrying quite a lot of other stuff as well. As you are familiar with, no doubt, because I have mentioned it before, this is my long-term test. This is my main filofax. This is the Filofax Heritage, and I'm liking the format. I'm not too happy about the misalignment of the rings and the gaps, but that's another story. But I'm, as one of my channel members said, I'm taking a hit for the team. So there we go. So that is working very, very well. But then I've got these 3. Why am I carrying these 3, and what are they? Well, first of all, let's go for this. This is my master index, which is a Filofax Sherwood. That this very, very model, this very, very binder I purchased in September 1993, so just over 30 years ago. And what I have in here is an index of 26 tabs rather than your normal 13, because I like that. I did actually ask Filofax themselves whether they carry these, but they said no, they don't make them anymore, which is a shame, because I think for some people having a set of 26 can be much, much easier than having a set of just 13 dividers. But there we go. It's just the way of it. In fact, sadly, you don't even get the set of 13 in a modern Filofax fill. If you buy the last, I've actually bought 1, 2, 3 brand new Filofax binders this year for the purposes of testing, and none of them had even the 13 dividers, so which is a shame. But I gather you can still buy the set of 13, but you cannot buy these. So if you want some, they appear on eBay and elsewhere very, very occasionally, or you can make your own. But there we go. But I like them. And in here are each page is a separate company or organization that I am associated with, and email addresses, passwords, usernames, that sort of thing. And it's all in code, so no one knows who they are. But I very rarely take this out of the house. But right now, I am carrying this, which is a bit of a hell of a risk in case I get robbed. But I think it's a small risk, because it's in code, and all this data has also been photographed and stored in the cloud. So if I did lose this, then I could replicate it I could reassemble it from photographs, digital images, within a day, I'm sure. But obviously I don't want to do that, because time is short, time is money, etc. So I am carrying that. But interestingly, because I'm using so much paper in personal formats rather than mini size format at the moment, I am finding the personal size a necessity at the moment, because I jot a note down, and there's a follow-up, and there's a follow-up, and a follow-up. And these rings and this format, mini size, in fact, I use A7. I cut down and make A7. There's just too much paperwork. And I thought, shall I carry 4 or 5 of these? And I thought, no, what I'll do is I'll carry this and use it as my long-term. It's a good excuse to use this heritage binder as a long-term test. But I find myself in a situation where I will jot down the odd note in A7 format in a mini-size filofax. But at least at the moment, perhaps temporarily, I am predominantly personal size format man. And I would say that, how am I doing this? Well, I'm certainly not buying loads and loads of these sheets from Filofax at something like 8p a sheet, which is ridiculous. I know they have to make money. I understand that. But I am not doing that. So what am I doing? So all these sheets in here and here, not in here, but I'll tell you something about that in a moment. This is Clairefontaine 50 GSM A4 paper, and I just literally cut 3 of these from each piece of A4. There's a tiny bit of waste, but not much. But okay, so I'm getting, as I'm sure you all know, you can get 3 sheets of personal size Filofax paper out of 1 sheet of A4, and I just love scrunching this up very, very lightly and then putting it in one of these, and then I have plenty of paper. And these cost, I think this, for each Filofax page like this, you can make 16 of these, certainly at UK prices right now, which is, a phenomenal deal. Why do I like the 50 GSM paper? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you can get more. You can get considerably more in your Filofax. So let me just show you very, 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 very briefly. Let's just go with this is what is it? Is it a medium? Can't tell. Let me just get my magnifying glass and have a look. So this is a fine. This is a fine Bock nib from my Kaweco Sport, and it's filled with Noodler's. What is it? What is it called? It's not Edge of Darkness. It is. It is called The Heart of Darkness. Edge of Darkness was a CV series starring Bob Peck back in the day. R.I.P. So anyway, let me just do this. So a cat sat on the mat. Okay. Right, just a quick reminder of this. So let me just show you. Not bad. There's a little bit of show through. But there's no bleed through. It's pretty good. And this Heart of Darkness ink is not the best for reducing bleed through and show through. So that's pretty good. So I would say that from a point of view of a working tool, although what I'm using currently, I tend to use at the moment, this is a rollerball Kaweco Sport. This is blue, and it is a Pilot G2. And what I've done is, as I'm sure you'll recall, I've cut it down so that it will fit in a Kaweco Sport, which is just a lovely thing. It's a pen of joy in terms of traveling. Apart from the fact you have to unscrew it and post it, it is what it is. I quite often use a Pilot V7, but again you have to post it. And of course, probably the most convenient of all is the ubiquitous Pilot G2 in the usual Pilot G2 body. All these are 1mm tips to get this fantastic high contrast blue. I do use red because of my 3-point to-do list system with a red dot, 3 red dots. But I'm waffling here. So I am using this paper. And what I am doing, because it seems to be so resilient, I'm actually working through here. I've removed some pages, and what I'm doing is I'm transcribing I can't show you any, but basically traditionally, I mean, there are pages in here. There are pages in here that are filofax paper that are, some of them are 30 years old. And pretty good, yeah, pretty good paper. But what I'm actually doing is, for speed of access, when you sort of try and access a page, they tend to not stick together. They're not sticky, but it's harder to access it and find the reference point you need. Whereas what I'm about to do is do this. So this is all sprinkled, scrumbled, crumpled paper. And then I'm going to use this method of scrumpling and fit this type of paper, 50 GSM, Clairefontaine paper, into my master index. When it shuts with a clip, then there's no problem with that. In fact, even though they're scrumpled, when it's closed, you can get more of this in than the typical filofax sheets that I've been hitherto using for the last 30 years odd. So that is the plan, to replace this filofax paper with Clairefontaine paper. And to that end, let me show you the others that I'm using. So as I've mentioned, I have typically had well, at least last week, I was using this in my bag. My project book, my moving project book, if you like, and then this mini, or one or other of the mini filofaxes. However, simply because I've got so much to write down, I'm actually finding this, which is my very, very floppy. Have I got anything to reveal? No, I haven't. This is my very, very floppy Guildford personal size. As you know, there is a terrible problem with the peeling leather, which makes these almost unusable unless you painstakingly remove the leather. I've only left this one without doing that, just to remind people of just how utterly appalling the leather is. But I've removed this, so there are no flakes coming off this, particularly inside of this binder. But I am just finding that this format where I just fold it over because it's so floppy, and I just write, and I write. So I can be holding this in my hands, although it doesn't have any backing, it's perfectly possible to do this. So I'm writing. And then what I will do is I will take the page that I'm writing and I will add it to my project book. If it is a new page, or if I run out of pages in here, I have 3 or 4 spare pages in here just in case. But then I have got a stash here, probably about 30 or 40 pages in here. It's only 11mm rings, but that's enough as a notebook. So project book, notebook, project book. That's what I'm doing. If you're wondering, I'm sure you are wondering, well, what about your other filofax Sherwood? So this is another filofax Sherwood. And I'm going a little bit mad here, but basically I am just temporarily using this as a place to put the pages that I cut, so that I'm ahead of the game. I don't want to come to a point where I need a page and then I have to go and find a pair of scissors and make some. So, in the in true Blue Peter style, I have some that I've prepared earlier. And then what I do is I will just scrunch them when I get round to them. I haven't done these because I did these earlier today, but I just scrunch them a little bit, and I'll just keep going. I'm not going to do them all, but you end up with this fabulous, I think it looks good. So you can easily do it with your thumbs. You can easily navigate. So you're not navigating here because it's just a notebook, and you're not navigating here because it's just storage of paper. But I'm using a lot of this. I'm using maybe between 10 and 20 sheets a day to keep my project on track. I know that's a lot. I know that's a lot, and perhaps that's a little bit wasteful of this paper, because I could write smaller. But at the moment I just like the personal sized format, and so I'm just sticking to that at the moment. I mean a little bit wasteful of the paper perhaps, but I do other things in my life to minimize my carbon footprint. Like I don't fly, haven't flown for nearly 30 years, so I know some people have to, but I don't have to, so I tend to use the train or bus or car or bicycle, or indeed I went shopping today on foot. So I'm just trying to keep my carbon footprint down, but when it comes to paper, I suspect my personal carbon footprint with regards to paper is probably enormous compared to someone that just uses an iPhone and does everything in the digital world. But it is what it is. You know, sometimes we do what we do. And of course, I do recycle paper as much as I can. So, for instance, I've just done something like this. I will cut this and make it A7 and punch it, and then that will go into like a rough inbox in mini A7 size. So I don't feel too guilty about it, because I am doing that, and I'm also doing things like. Quite often in this sort of say mini size, there'll be bits that I've cut out of junk mail or the backs of envelopes. Anything that you can write on can go in here, and I can use it effectively rather than chuck it in the trash. So a bit of a long-winded one. I mean, we're coming up to 19 minutes here just talking about what I'm using, but I hope you found that useful. And until my next video, before I go, just as a run up here, because I'm moving, I'm still in my studio today. In a few weeks' time, I will be moving, and there will be a gap where this studio will no longer exist, and I'll be creating a new studio at the new place. But hopefully that won't mean I will stop making videos completely. But you might find the videos being made outdoors, for instance, which will be quite interesting. I've done a few of those. I've done some at my daughter's house, for instance, which were quite fun to do as well. But I hope the plan is to. Although there is an interval where I don't have access to my own recording space, I will get that up and running as soon as possible after I've moved. It'll take a bit of time, no doubt, but we'll get there. Okay, that's a bit of housekeeping done. Thanks very much for watching. Until my next video, goodbye.